Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. Today's video is going to be my January reading wrap up and my February TBR. Before we get into the reading wrap up and the TBR, I do want to share my little haul that I got from Barnes & Noble's today. My dad and I went to Lloyd Center. If you live in Oregon, you know where Lloyd Center is, but we went to Lloyd Center to go to the Barnes & Noble outlet. I originally thought it was like the Barnes & Noble in the mall was closing down, but no, it's literally just an outlet store. So all the books were 50% off, some were 75% off. So we did a little bit of browsing and I found 4 books that I've actually never heard of before. They're all fantasy. I wanted to start with the little tote bag I got. I didn't need a tote bag, obviously, but I wanted to get one. It's just this cute little small one, and then it comes with a strap to make it like a shoulder bag. But when I was getting it, I didn't realize it was like based off Fourth Wing. So if you read the Fourth Wing series, the Empyrean series, like all the books on here are like from that series, like the Rider, where is it? The Dragon Riders Codex, Modern Guide for Healers, Guide to Vanquishing the Venom. So I thought it was kind of cool. The 4 books that I got were The Shadow Rules All by Abigail Owen, The Notorious Virtues by Alwyn Hamilton, I believe it is, and 5 Broken Blades by Mai Corland. And I think this one I have seen before. I'm pretty sure it was on my book of the month last month. I don't remember what month it was, but I'm pretty sure I was able to pick this for book of the month if I had wanted to. Maybe it was this month. I don't know, but I do remember seeing this on book of the month. Oh, and like they all have like kind of like a sprayed edge of some sort. This one I really love the drawing and the cover and everything. And this is The Half King by Melissa Landers. And then, but like the inside cover, so gorgeous, love it. So I'm really excited to read these at some point. They are not on my February TBR because I have specific books that I want to get through before I get to these, and I want to make sure that I read them before I get to these. And now, without further ado, let's get into my January reading wrap up, because I'm very excited about the books that I read in January, and I'm proud of myself because I had a goal and I stuck to it. So we're gonna start with the only one that's not part of the series, Shark Heart: A Love Story by Emily Habeck. This was a phenomenal story. It's literally, the concept of it was so intriguing to me. I've never read a book with this type of concept or plot before, but it's not a spoiler because you literally, like, you can read it on the back of the book. Her husband turns into a shark, a great white shark. Like, the world that they live in is a magic world where there's these diagnoses are normal, like people turning into animals, but this is one of like the more rare ones, turning into a great white shark. We follow like the beginning of the story with Ren and her husband. What was his name again? Lewis. Ren and Lewis, where they find out about the diagnosis and then they're dealing with him like slowly morphing into a great white shark. And he becomes a great white shark like pretty much within the first 100 pages, I'm pretty sure it was. Like, it's very early on in the book, and then you have the rest of the book and you're like, what's going on? Why do I have so much left over? He's already a great white shark. It's just incredibly beautifully written. We're following Lewis's story once he turns into a great white shark, how he's dealing with it, everything that happens after that. We're following Ren's story, how she's dealing with her husband's, you know, his diagnosis, him turning into a shark and then losing her husband because he has to go, you know, into the ocean. Like, he can't live at home with them as a shark. And then we also are learning about her mother and everything that happened then that made her into who she is now, and why dealing with her husband's diagnosis and what happens with him is so hard for her. It's just such like a heartbreaking story of love and loss, but it was such a beautiful story, and I like binged it because some of the chapters are literally like, it's like 3 sentences and that's the chapter, and then you're moving on to the next one. Like, the writer, she did such a great job at like jumping between scenes but keeping you still emotionally invested, because I know that there are some books where the writer's trying to make quick work and keep the scene short and taking you from one scene to the next scene, and it like can be too much to where you're just not invested in the characters at all. You're like, I don't really care what's happening to them. But Emily Habeck did such a great job at making sure you were emotionally invested, you cared about the characters, and you wanted to know more about their story and everything that was happening. So I highly recommend this. It was a 5-star read for me. that doesn't have much weight because a lot of books are 5-star reads for me. I'm like, I give out 5-star reads because I just love books. I love the stories, and if it's like, if it makes me emotional and makes me tear up and makes me cry, it's 5 stars. And I do that with a lot of books, unfortunately, because I am such an emotional person. So I also love sharks. That was like literally the only reason I picked this book up and wanted to read it, is because it was about somebody turning into a great white shark, and I have a huge obsession with sharks. So yeah, rambling aside, you have to read this. It's just a gorgeous book, and I loved it. Okay, now we're gonna get into the only other things I read this month, which were the rest of the Throne of Glass series. Oh, such a long time coming. I got the first 3 books, Throne of Glass, Assassin's Blade, and Crown of Midnight. Yeah, Crown of Midnight. Last May or June, and I read them then, but I couldn't afford to get the rest of the series. And so I was just reading other books, never got to read them. And then I had my boyfriend get me the rest of the series for Christmas, and that was it. I just had to finish it. So that's what I read. I read, which one was second? Was it Heir of Fire or Queen of Shadows? So yeah, we read Heir of Fire, and then we read Queen of Shadows. And then I did the tandem read actually for Tower of Dawn and Empire of Storms. I did a reading vlog. That's my last video if you guys haven't watched it. And then we finished with Kingdom of Ash. This whole series is a 5-star series for me. Like, I absolutely loved it. I love Sarah J. Maas's writing. I think she is like so incredible at storytelling and writing, and I just feel like there are so many people who talk about how the books are too long. There's too many books in the series. There's too many pages. Like, so much of the books could be cut out. And I just don't think people are really understanding what she's putting into her books. Like, I sobbed through every single one of these books. She makes you feel so emotionally invested in these characters, and she makes you like want to care about them. You know so much about these characters. You know their backstories. You know why they are the way that they are, why they're doing what they're doing, and they become like close personal friends to you. And I feel like that's such like a hard thing to do as a writer, to make someone so emotionally invested in your characters and in your story that they have to know what's going to happen next. I fully was picturing this series as I was reading it as like a movie in my head, and I was picturing myself in the book with the characters as if I was one of the characters myself. And I feel like it's such a hard thing to do. And just her underlying themes of just friendship and goodness, and one small act of kindness can literally change the course of somebody's life. I feel like that's entirely what this whole series is about. I totally understand reading the book and then just being like, that's not for me. Like, I'm not a fantasy reader. I'm not interested in it. It's more for people that just absolutely downplay how incredible fantasy can be, how incredible the stories that she weaves together are, the detail, like the attention to detail and the intricacies of all of the plots that she's wound together. But anyways, that's just my little tangent, that I hate that we put down certain genres like romance and fantasy and romantasy just because of what's implied of them, of the smut that's in them, when realistically, like, Throne of Glass, I would have my mom and my dad read this. There was that little smut in it. You know what I mean? Like, I know there are some fantasy books where it's overwhelming and overbearing how much is in it. But this was such a beautifully written story just about one girl who, with all the acts of kindness she gave, changed the entire course of history for her and her friends and changed the world. And it was just beautiful. And I'm so happy I read it. And I absolutely sobbed through Kingdom of Ash. Cried. My boyfriend even was like, is this even a good book? You're like crying every chapter. It's just incredible, and her writing is just incredible. I love how much attention to detail she puts into her books. How it's, you know, could be 2 to 3 pages of details about a character, because it just makes you look back at it when you're in like 4 books from that original book and you're like, oh my god, she talked about this 4 books ago. Oh my god, she brings up characters that you didn't have, like characters from Throne of Glass that you had no idea still existed, come up in Kingdom of Ash, and you're just like, wait a second, that character, the like where they went and now they're back here, she did this for that character and now he's helping her. I just love it. I love it so much. I could sit and ramble on and on and on about it. But I did want to talk about Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn, because I'm a little disappointed that I did the tandem read. I have a friend who told me Tower of Dawn is a snooze fest. Like, it is so boring. I hate Kale. I think it's Kale. I thought it was Chow. I'm gonna be honest. And I pictured him as the character from Frozen, and unfortunately I could not picture anything else. It was just a dorky dude. Anyways, but Kale, I'm assuming, is how his name's pronounced. Anyway, she hated him, which I don't get. I don't fully understand. So anyways, I understand why he was the way he was, how he was raised, what he was taught to believe. So I understand finding out that Aelin, you know, had magic, kept all of this from him, was a big shock. And I personally feel like I would be like not eager to forgive either. So I feel like the Kale hate is so forced. But she convinced me that I had to do the tandem read because Tower of Dawn was a snooze and I wouldn't get through it. And I'm kind of upset that I did the tandem read because I absolutely loved Tower of Dawn. I thought it was such a beautiful, beautiful story on its own. I loved seeing Nesryn and her side of things with the princes and the princesses and where she went. And then seeing Kale and his journey of healing with Yrene and her story. Oh my god, I just loved it. I loved it so much. When I do a reread, I will read them separately because as much fun as it was to jump back and forth between action and then, you know, not as much action, just mainly healing and storytelling, I think both books separately on their own are absolutely strong enough to be read on their own. I don't think a tandem read was needed for these. And if anybody asks me in the future, like, hey, should I do the tandem read? I'm gonna say no, because I truly believe both books are beautifully written on their own and both stories are so wonderful to have read separately. I need to start using a thesaurus because I don't have a big variety of words to describe things, and I'm not a big fan of that. So that's a goal for 2026. Learn new words. Yeah. That's just my little piece on the tandem read. That, after all that rambling, that is my reading wrap up for January. 6 books. So, very excited. Very happy about that. If I keep this pace up, I'll beat my reading goal for the year. Now to go on to my February TBR. There's no rhyme or reason for this. It's just kind of me, you know, looking at what books I have and seeing what I want to read. I am going to start with Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo because I want to get back to the Grishaverse. I want to finish the duology. I finished Six of Crows, I think in October or November, and I've just been waiting to get Crooked Kingdom so I could finish that. So we're going to be starting with this one. And then I just have some standalone fantasies because, like I said, I have a few series that I need to finish and I'm just not ready to do that yet, I don't think. I'm not sure yet. This might change. I'm very much a mood reader too. So I could completely go away from this TBR. It's not a set in stone TBR, so don't be mad next month if I don't read any of these books. But the next one is Our Infinite Fates by Laura Steven. And I don't really have anything to say about these books. I don't know much about them. I just pick them up. This one though, I think I mentioned it in one of my last videos, my 26 books. Most of the books that I'm reading are part of my 26 of 2026. This one, if I remember correctly, I think it says it on here. Yeah, they've loved each other in 1,000 lifetimes and they've also killed each other in every lifetime. So it's like they remember that they love each other and then they end up having to kill each other. So I'm very interested in that concept. Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. I did start this one a few months ago on audiobook. Don't remember anything. I can't listen to audiobooks. I don't retain any information. So, but I'm excited about this one. I think it has something to do with vampires. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it has something to do with vampires, if I remember correctly. And then The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. I've heard really great things about this. I don't know what it's about. Let me read something about it real quick. And I think it's a standalone. I'm not totally sure. Oh, but she's the one that does One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns. Okay, I'm also reading that. So this is gonna be part of a series. Oh, it's right there. How did I miss that? Book 1. That's kind of annoying. Is it the next book's not out yet? I'm not a fan of starting series where the whole series isn't complete. Like the Empyrean series. I'm still waiting on the 4th book after Onyx Storm. Anyways, but I've just heard that like this has gotten a lot of people back into reading and back into fantasy, and it's like a binge-worthy story, so I'm very excited to read it. That is my reading wrap-up for January and my February TBR. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments your February TBR, what you are going to be reading, what you want to read. Let me know what you read in January, if you met your January goal, and yeah, I will see you guys in my next video.